The Corinth Contraband Camp, established during the American Civil War, was a pivotal refuge for the escaped slaves and those seeking freedom from Confederate control. The camp, located in Corinth, Mississippi, played a significant role in the transition of the enslaved individuals from bondage to liberation. In today's video, we will explore the background, establishment conditions, and impact of the Corinth Contraband Camp. Located just south of the Tennessee border is the town of Corinth, Mississippi. Founded in 1854 at the junctions of the Mobile and Ohio and the Memphis and Charleston railroads, by the time the Civil War started, Corinth was known as the crossroads of the Confederacy and was a strategic target of the Union Army. As Union forces occupied major portions of the South, enslaved people escaped from their farms and plantations and fled to the safety behind Union lines. In September 1862, President Abraham Lincoln's preliminary Emancipation Proclamation was issued, and the number of freedom seekers from Alabama, southern Tennessee, and Mississippi increased considerably. After the Second Battle of Corinth that took place on October 3rd through 4th, 1862, Union forces solidified their control in northern Mississippi. Now, due to this small town's position and use by the federal forces, it soon became a destination for escaped and liberated slaves. In Union-occupied Corinth, a contraband camp was needed to house them. October 30th, 1862 saw the promotion of Major General Grenville Dodge, who took command of the left wing of the 16th Army Corps, and he chose Corinth as the site of his headquarters. Soon, this small railroad hub became a fortified Union Army depot with a garrison of about 25,000 troops. Union forces would launch raids into Tennessee, Alabama, and other parts of Mississippi from this base. These raids were designed to destroy Confederate morale and supplies. However, an unexpected product of these raids was hundreds and sometimes thousands of freed and escaped slaves following the Union soldiers back to Corinth. Dodge saw an opportunity. He understood that these people escaping would hurt the Confederate war effort and would serve value in the Union cause by enlisting these people as cooks, carpenters, blacksmiths, farmers, butchers, bakers, seamstresses, and laborers. Major General Dodge established a contraband camp to accommodate these refugees. Males were recruited, trained, and armed, and put in charge of security at their newly organized camp. The camp's population grew to over 6,000 and it had over 100 wooden structures, including numerous homes, a church, school, and a hospital. It also had gardens and fields to yield crops. Now this set the Corinth camp apart from the other contraband camps, which were nothing more than some tent cities that relied on federal forces to feed and support them. The establishment of schools and vocational training programs provided invaluable education opportunities for these former slaves, equipping them with the skills to navigate their newfound freedom. General Dodge even appropriated a nearby abandoned plantation and asked the newly emancipated to grow their own food. These freedmen cultivated and sold cotton and vegetables, and by May of 1863, the camp was making a profit of about $4,000 to $5,000 a month, or about $178,000 in today's value from this endeavor. By August, over 1,000 African American children and adults learned to read through the efforts of various individuals, religious organizations, and other newly formed groups dedicated to helping these ex-slaves adjust to their new life. The Corinth Contraband Camp became a model camp and allowed the approximate 6,000 ex-slaves to establish the foundation of their new life. Once the Emancipation Proclamation was fully implemented on January 1, 1863, nearly 2,000 of these newly freedmen at the Corinth Contraband Camp had their first opportunity to protect their newfound freedom, and they made up a new regiment in the Union Army that was formed by General Dodge. Since most of these men came from Alabama, their unit was named the 1st Alabama Infantry Regiment of African descent. General Dodge also created a spy network and used some of these former slaves as scouts and spies in a large military intelligence operation that he had set up in the Western Theater. The Confederates ordered General Dodge to hang if they were ever to have caught him. In December of 1863, the camp was moved to Memphis, and the freedmen resided in a more traditional refugee facility for the remainder of the war. The Corinth Contraband Camp was the first step on the road of freedom and the struggle for equality for thousands of these former slaves. After the Corinth Contraband Camp was abandoned, the 1st Alabama Regiment of African descent became part of the U.S. Colored Brigade of the Federal Army of Tennessee. Recruited for service on March 11, 1864, the unit was renamed the 55th United States Colored Troops. These troops were part of the Battle of Bryce's Crossroads on June 10, 1864, serving as rear and wagon guard. The outnumbered Confederate cavalry forces led by Major General Nathan Bedford Forrest defeated the larger, better equipped Union forces led by Brigadier General Samuel D. Sturgis and pushed them across the Tishomingo Creek Bridge. The men of the 55th United States Colored Troops set up a defensive line to provide covering fire, then engaged in a bayonet charge. This slowed the Confederate pursuit, allowing for more Union troops to safely retreat back to Memphis, but many in the 55th and the 59th Colored Troops had lost their lives or were listed as missing in action in this engagement. The Corinth Contraband Camp emerged as a beacon of hope for the escaped slaves during the American Civil War, offering shelter, sustenance, and education for those seeking freedom. It symbolized the transformative power of the Emancipation Proclamation and played a significant role in shaping the post-Civil War era. The camp's establishment, the conditions experienced by its residents, and its lasting impact on the lives of the freed individuals all contribute to its legacy as a haven for freedom during this turbulent time in American history. As part of the Shiloh National Military Park, a portion of the historic Corinth Contraband Camp is preserved to commemorate those who began their journey to freedom here in 1862 to 1863. This land now hosts a quarter-mile walkway which exhibits 6 life-size bronze sculptures depicting the men, women, and children who inhabited this camp. To learn more about the American Civil War, slavery, and contraband camps, head to your school or local public library for some of the many books written about these subjects, and check out the description box below for a link to the Shiloh National Military Park. Please share this video with others and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thank you from the History and Heritage Explorers. Until next time, keep on exploring.